Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Our guest today is Jordan. So Jordan, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Yeah, how you doing, Dan? So my name is Jordan Goure. I'm the president and CEO of PIXMA, which is a award-winning software company based out of Ontario, Amherstburg, Canada. I also own a winery and I own a real estate development company. So I've been in business as an entrepreneur for 18 years.
Awesome. So in terms of PIXMA, which I guess is your main thing, how did you kind of get started with that company? What inspired you to start a software company?
Yeah, so I mean, this goes back a number of years. So starting out in business, I was 19. I opened a restaurant like a lot of people getting into business do, relatively low barrier to entry. We expanded quickly. We did over $1 million in sales in my restaurant that I opened in my first year when I was in university. So we expanded. We had about 4 locations by the time I was 21. Live entertainment venues, a members club, other restaurants, so that kind of thing. So at that time, we had about 200 staff in our corporate structure. And every time I'd have to hire somebody, I'd go to, at that time, about Kijiji or like a job board. I don't even think Indeed was maybe just starting out. I think I might have been recruit.com then still. Anyway, so I'd post on a job board and I'd get 1,000 applicants because hospitality is very popular jobs to work in. Obviously, you make a lot of tips. I mean, it's the same as in the US as it is Canada. It's not the pay rate, it's all of the tips and obviously the social aspect of the job. So we get 1,000 applicants. Then I'd manually have to go through them with my brother, who's my business partner and another HR lead at our company. And it was just like such a tedious process. I thought there's got to be something better than manually going through pieces of paper that don't properly identify the individuals applying to the jobs. Right. So I thought this was about 2000, as I said, I was about 21, 22, maybe 2012. Fast forward about 8 years later, we saw a lot of success getting into micro manufacturing. We opened up one of the first microbreweries in our region. Then we got into wine manufacturing. Now we own a winery in one of the top wine regions in Canada, since we're in the southernmost part of Canada. We did a lot of real estate development, general contractors, general labor. So all entry level positions, just like hospitality. And now we're hiring more of them. And really the technology did not change, right? It's like now it's Indeed. So I go on Indeed, I post on a job board, I get a bunch of resumes sent to my Indeed inbox instead of my email inbox. I didn't at that time have any HR software. We weren't really a big enough company to have like enterprise level software. So I said, this does not make sense if the technology has not changed from what I was using in 2012. In 2012, I incorporated the company PIXMA because I thought one day I'm going to fix this challenge. I just didn't have the money to bootstrap a tech company then. I had to go and, really grow in business further. So now it's going into COVID. Everyone's getting laid off. I went to one of my best friends of 15 years. That's an enterprise level software developer. And I said, look, this is what I would like to build. I mean, I'm a pretty technical savvy person. I'm more analytic and my brother's more of our creative side of our companies. I said, let's map this out. Let's build this. Let's scope it. And let's see if we can build a truly new technology to get people into the workforce. And that's where PIXMA really started gaining steam was about 2021. We built an MVP. We changed the entire way that people enter the workforce. So from a resume, we go to a structured data approach, which is a PIXMA live dynamic work profile. And we started testing it with colleges, universities, and those types of things, onboarding students, the people that take these positions. And a few years later now, we've won a couple of awards. We've closed a 7-figure raise round, and we're now spreading nationally across our country. And we've entered into the US market just as of 3 months ago.
That's awesome. So essentially from what it looks like, it's like a super dynamic, marketplace. So if I'm looking for a job, I want to go on there, create this profile. People can see kind of, how much I'm looking to make. And then you can have it it's sort of like Upwork, essentially, sort of like, what it looks like, but it's for not just like digital jobs, it's for restaurants and places like that, essentially.
Yeah. So, I mean, exactly. You have your Upworks and your Fivers out there for remote positions. We've obviously hired subcontractors through those. We've been using technology like that for a number of years. You have hit like the key demo, which is in-person jobs, which is a lot different than even like a LinkedIn would be an enterprise level platform, right? Where I'm looking for a career, I'm looking to be headhunted, and it's what I think of myself. PIXMA is for those entry-level workers that are still filling out resumes. You'd be surprised, most of our clients are still going to job fairs. They're getting thousands of pieces of paper, not even digital PDFs, right? So it's the biggest part of the market we identified is the part of the market that was lacking the most in software tools. So as opposed to building a marketplace just where like I can go find a job, what we did is we built tools for users. So if I build a PIXMA as opposed to using a resume template builder, we optimize it for AI reading systems, and it gets it ready to submit to large corporations that are hiring entry-level positions. If you're a large enterprise or a small business, we have a scalable ATS system that's a recruitment module that intakes these profiles for you, allows you to filter through thousands of people in seconds. And now we've just built the first non-biased matching algorithm in Canada, funded by our federal government, that matches people with our government skills taxonomy framework quickly. So really, it's just better technology to find qualified people faster.
That's awesome. No, I mean, just looking at your website, it looks super dynamic and it looks very easy to use. I mean, I think, like the problem that you're solving is a real problem that exists in the market, especially here in Austin, Texas, where I live. There's a lot of people in hospitality, like a lot of people that move here, college students, people fresh out of college. And like, there's many people kind of in this workforce. And I think you're right. There aren't many, companies that are kind of going after this problem that you're solving.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's like you said, it's a big problem. I mean, what these people are doing now, like the people in hospitality in Texas, they're probably going to like an AI generation tool for like a resume builder. It's fabricating a bunch of information so it matches a job description. Then they're getting into an interview and both people are a little bit pissed off because it's not really the person, right? So we were like, why not empower people with who they actually are? Another issue with hospitality is I get a resume, a piece of paper, then I go and scrape socials. I go to Instagram, I go to TikTok, I go to Facebook. Do you want employers looking at you when you're partying, and you're beer bonging with your friends? Or do you want them to look at what you are actually presenting them with, which is accurate picture and reflection of you in the workforce? And that's what a PIXMA is.
So would it allow somebody, for example, so like I know, and sometimes it's like in these industries, people are working multiple jobs. So are they able to like apply to like, multiple jobs, like work different jobs? And also like, I'm curious about like the payment side. So like once they're onboarded, are you paying them through the platform as well, or are they paying them like however they would typically pay them?
Yeah, we stayed away from the marketplace there. I mean, so you had two questions there. So first, yeah, you can like tailor your PIXMA to different roles. We have like a template style builder where you pick the positions that you'd want to show. Then you would export it to a PDF and it works within any intake system, and it's maximized to be read by AI. So we format it for AI for you. So that's kind of the answer to the first question. I mean, there's highlights, there's certification, there's access to transportation, there's language proficiency. There's a lot more information that we gather. It's honestly a 5-minute onboarding too. It's like a few questions. You parse existing resume or a LinkedIn CV file or anything that you might have, and then our proprietary parsing tech builds the profile for you. So honestly, it's 5 minutes, and then you can start tailoring to the jobs you're going to apply to. We actually are just about to have jobs in every region in Canada, and we just signed an agreement with ZipRecruiter to have jobs in every region in the US as well. So after you build that, now you can see jobs direct on our platform and apply to them. That's kind of where our experience stops, though. We don't pay you through platform. It's not like a gig marketplace. We've seen a lot of people, especially in hospitality, hate that. Like you're taking a cut of their wages. I mean, this is not something you should be doing to the people that are paid the lowest hourly rate in the country. So what we do is we pass them over to whatever the employer, so large employers, might have an HRIS system. They might have an existing applicant tracking system. We pass them right over seamlessly into that. We integrate with their systems. If they don't have one, the way that we monetize is we go sell them tools to have more efficient intake. So we build them a customized intake system, a recruitment module to take in the profiles that we're sending them, which are PIXMAs.
That's awesome. No, I think it's super cool. And then in terms of the integrations, like you were saying, that integrates with like ZipRecruiter and platforms like that. So if somebody's posting a job on like LinkedIn Jobs or other platforms like Indeed, can they see jobs through PIXMA, or do they have to post it through your platform to be seen on it?
So a little bit of both. So we pull jobs into platform. So you'd see those external jobs posted right in your job board within your dashboard. Like if you're a user, if you're a person looking for a job. And then if you're an employer using our platform, we push it out to those areas. So you can use our jobs marketing. So we have a sales team or support team that'll help you with that. So we provide links, basically like embed links that you can share the job on any platform, and it populates a dynamic job card for you. So now you can go collect applicants on LinkedIn. You can collect applicants, and we've seen a lot of success in like Facebook groups, like hiring Facebook groups. So our employers can collect applicants anywhere. It's actually like we've seen better applicants coming through those systems. Job boards are people looking for jobs, but most of the people actually looking for jobs are passively looking, and they don't generally check job boards every day, but they are on Facebook and their friends will share posts with them, or they are on LinkedIn, right? But they're not necessarily being headhunted because this isn't the type of jobs that are being headhunted on LinkedIn. So we build the tools so employers can access and attract candidates from alternate sources. And like I said, we see a lot higher quality candidate when you're finding someone that's passively job seeking.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because I mean, typically, unless somebody's like super aggressive, yeah, when somebody's super aggressively looking, oftentimes they may not be the right candidate. You see people who are just job hopping from job to job to job. The people who are passively looking are the ones that are typically like the best candidates who might have been at the company for several years and now are looking for some upward mobility.
Exactly. And you're missing out one part, which is the people actively looking, like you said, they're jumping job to job. Right now, what they're doing is they're using tools like mass, we call it spraying and praying. They're using some sort of an AI tool to like send out 1,000 of their resumes to click the buttons automatically for them at all different job boards. So they're applying to every and all jobs. They're not applying jobs that they're just qualified for. And this is creating, like, everyone's heard of ghosting, like in dating apps. People say ghosting shouldn't exist in the hiring world. The reason it exists is because employers have 100 applicants coming in that aren't qualified at all. I mean, they're hiring a PSW, let's say. They haven't even went to school. They don't have the certification to do that. And then on the flip side, they're not getting back to those candidates because they're like, this is BS. This person didn't even read the job post. So now that person is like, well, I have to send out 1,000 applicants instead of 100. And it's creating like this whole like reciprocal non-communication nightmare that we're trying to solve with PIXMA through like joint communication efforts. If you close a job on PIXMA, it notifies the applicants. If you change them to a stage like hiring, it notifies you in that applicant process. So there's a lot of communication tie-in that we did right within our application that I think is key to like combat that anti-ghosting that everyone hates.
100%. So you were saying that you guys just came here to the U.S. market. You've been very successful in your launch across Canada. Obviously, the U.S. is like a much bigger market. So what is your plan of action to really get the word out and scale here in the States?
Yeah, obviously limited resources, right? Like I mentioned to you before, we just closed a 7-figure raise round. It was like a pre-seed seed round. A very strategic investor that we wanted to bring into the company joined us. But that did not give us close to the resources to tackle the American market. It's a different beast over there, as you know. So we plan on being very strategic. And what we've been doing with that is signing like some large clients that are directly in our space that hire in our demo and helping marketing their jobs in their regions, as opposed to building just brand identity for PIXMA in those regions. We've got a meeting coming up in 2 weeks with one of the largest associations throughout the entire US that doesn't have a powered job board yet. So we're like powering job boards for individual associations. And as opposed to it just being a job board, we're creating like a job network where they can track people, and everyone within their network within the US can post the jobs and track candidates in those regions. So what we've done is basically just said, look, we have great software tools. Let's just plug these into all different markets where they are having difficulty hiring and let them build some markets in those regions with us, as opposed to us just spending resources that we don't have trying to set up like a brand in the US that no one would recognize.
Right. And so in terms of Canada, right, because I guess I'm curious, on that, because you've been able to scale in Canada pretty well. Has it been because of the help of the federal government, or how have you kind of been able to get the word out and grow and get all these customers in Canada?
Yeah, so the federal government's been great. I mean, like Canada's a little bit behind in tech startups, as I think like the US, obviously clear leader worldwide.
Yeah.
Canada is gaining steam in AI development, though. I think we were number 5 at the end of last year per capita, so we were pretty happy with that. Our company joined what's called AMI, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute, 2 years ago. It's our largest AI think tank in our country. They only allowed 16 companies in our cohort, so we were pretty proud to make that cut. We work directly with Google on GCP now, so we get some funding directly from Google to work with some engineers there to brush up our AI matching algorithms. So we've had a ton of support from federal governments down to private industry, that's tech leaders. That's obviously helped. But as far as like scale, we're honestly just like, our sales team just hit the ground running 4 months ago. And we've been really happy with like smart growth initiatives, as I talked about, dealing with associations, the stuff that we're doing in the US, we've been doing in Canada, dealing with large associations, dealing with jobs markets, sending tools to companies that are way bigger than we should be landing, but they wanted smart tools to help their recruitment and their intake process. So we plan on replicating that to the US market, but that's what we've seen success with here.
So on that note, right, because you guys just launched here in the US. So in terms of your goals, right, if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for the business?
We're trying to really get behind something that's interesting in Canada. So it's compliance, right? So in Canada, we just announced a whole bunch of compliance rules, specifically in Ontario, where it's like, if someone gets to an interview stage and then they don't get the job, I have to track that I notified them they didn't get the job for 3 years to show that I'm doing proper applicant tracking. If I'm a large company, if I have more than 25 full-time employees, we expect that stuff to come out into the US, and most of the software, like most of the ATS systems, don't solve for this problem yet. But the unique part about the US is like, it's anyone's guess right now, right? Like, I mean, we talk about tariffs in Canada all the time, but really what we see at PIXMA is it's like an unknown. It's like whatever Trump says changes like the rules or the perceived rules even before they become rules in every Republican state, right? And then Democratic states might push against it. And a lot of labor is done at the state level in the US as opposed to the federal. So what we have learned though is no one knows what the hell's going on, right? So it's like, well, do you want to follow like the rules as Trump says it, like his DEI rules? I mean, he came out with a list in the New York Times, I think 2 weeks ago. It had like a list of words you couldn't use in like anything where you're attracting, trying to write grants, trying to hire. So we basically can take those words out of those states when you're building a job. So when you use our AI to build a job for you that posts in our job networks, we take those words out. So you're abiding by these rules, even though they were just announced on Monday and they might change next Monday, right? We can be more agile. So I think that's what we're looking at doing in the US. It's like, it's kind of the Wild West again, as far as like rules and legislation. And we want to be adaptable and agile to be able to help US companies adopt those rules quicker than a large software company could, because they have so much technical debt that they have to compete with when they're changing something within their application.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. So you might have like a federal executive order here in the States, and then you might have a state come out and, you know, a judge that rules against, and this whole back and forth. It's always kind of what happens. So in terms of this business, right? Because you just started about, you know, during COVID, I think you said about 4 years ago. So if you could go back in time to before you got started, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Like piece of advice I wish I knew, or a piece of advice I'd give to someone starting out?
Both.
Okay. Piece of advice I wish I knew is, I guess when you're building a product and you're a mature entrepreneur like I was, you try to do it best the first time as opposed to just like launching, iterating. So we like did probably 2 years of development. When we attracted this investor that we just attracted, he sold his company for 8 figures, so a massive exit. And he was like, your product is more mature than my product was when I sold it for 8 figures. And that spoke to us because we're like, yeah, we're great product guys. I've been building products and companies my whole life. My co-founder my co-founder, the enterprise level software developer, he's also been building products for large enterprise. And my brother is a creative guy that's been doing creative from real estate to web design. So the three of us were a great product team, right? We were like a trio of perfect business strategy, technical analysis, engineering and development, and then also creative. So we built like the best product that likely should have been launched a year earlier and hit the market. So I would tell myself, build something and get it out to market, get feedback. Because now there's a bunch of stuff we built that we don't even use, right? Like we got market feedback and we changed those things quickly. It was good that we knew how to develop product, but also, so that's one thing I would say. Now for like a piece of advice to people getting into business. And I taught at the college for a little bit, just like moonlit for fun, because I like to help entrepreneurs in our region. And I used to tell people that would take my business class, I'd say, listen, you're all here because you think you can be in business, but most people can't be in business, but everyone thinks they can be in business, right? Everyone is like, if I had money, I would be rich. That's the conundrum in itself. And most people should not be in business. I mean, there's like a small percentage of all of North America in our great capitalist society that we've built that will actually see success in business, where they'll do something, they'll get up in the morning. It won't be just for financial gain. It'll be because they have that it factor that's going to get them to go to work every day, even though they don't get a check on Friday. Everyone gets into business thinking, oh, I'm going to have freedom. That's why I'm getting into business. I get to have freedom. I say, no, you don't have freedom. What you actually do get to do is control your own destiny. And that destiny can be complete shit and you can fall off a cliff, or it can be you're going to be doing an interview with Forbes. So I would say really dig deep. Know if you're a person that should be in business, and if you shouldn't, there's no harm in just not getting into business. Invest in a business, get into the market, buy some real estate, but don't start a company if you don't have that it factor, and don't test that on like your friends and family's money. Don't go raise money. If I had money, I'd be rich. Don't ever say that. If that's a thing, don't say it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I cannot agree with you more, by the way. And I think what you just said right there is not said enough. And I think that most people don't realize what it takes to actually be like a successful founder, and the amount of work and how much time it takes to actually make money and to actually grow and scale. I mean, yeah, it's not easy. It's not for most people. And actually that advice I also give to people, because I say, don't get into it. It's probably not for you, because you really need to understand what it takes to get to that level. And it's not easy. And that's why most startups fail, because people don't understand what they're getting themselves into. I think that's really good advice. So on that note, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or use PIXMA, do you mind sharing your social media, or the website, I guess best ways to get in contact.
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, PIXMA.ca, PIXMA.com, both are ours. We're having like custom landing pages for each country right now that are about to launch. It's like we said, we're just really doing a big entry into the US market now. PIXMA on Instagram, PIXMA.ca, so we've got a pretty decent following there. We have a lot of fun stuff always going there. That's kind of the main like place where we put out notifications. And then, yeah, anyone can contact me directly. So Jordan@PIXMA.ca is my direct email. I'm always game to talk with any employers that are looking for like AI or HR strategy. Any entrepreneurs that have questions, like my office is always open. I actually just went down to Harvard in November of last year to do machine learning down there. And everyone thinks, oh, you go to Harvard, so you want to go back to school. I did not want to go back to school. I graduated like over 12 years ago. It's you go to those places to network, to get other perspectives, to validate your ideas. And that's what I did there. And that's why my door is always open, because I like to do that virtually as much as possible too.
That's great. Awesome. Well, Jordan, thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, of course. Good meeting you, Dan.